You are lying there, fully present, doing everything you know how to do. Your focus is locked in. You are reading her body, adjusting your rhythm, staying attentive to every signal she gives you. And yet, somewhere underneath all that effort, you can feel it. A kind of invisible ceiling. She is close, but not arriving. And the more you concentrate, the more that ceiling seems to hold. What you are feeling in that moment is real, but what you think is causing it is almost certainly wrong. The answer is not in what you are doing with your hands or your body. It is in what is happening inside her brain right now. And once you understand that mechanism, the ceiling disappears. I'm Dr. Mary Edwards, a psychosexual therapist and researcher whose work draws on Stephen Porges' polyvagal theory, Emily Nagoski's dual control model of sexual response, and over a decade of clinical practice working with couples navigating exactly this kind of disconnect. Here is what we are covering today. First, I am going to show you the exact neurological reason why effort and focus from your side can actually work against her in that moment. Then I am going to walk you through 3 specific verbal phrases grounded in real attachment neuroscience that shift her nervous system from vigilance into openness. And finally, I am giving you a sequenced action plan you can use tonight. Stay with me through the 3rd phrase especially, because that one addresses something almost no one in this space talks about. And it is the one that changes everything at the deepest level. Here's the truth most men never learn. The barrier is not physical, it is neurological. Most men believe that if they just find the right technique, the right rhythm, the right touch, the outcome will follow. That assumption is understandable. It is also the thing keeping her from getting there. The real mechanism is her nervous system state, and her nervous system cannot be touched, adjusted, or rhythmically optimized. It can only be felt into safety. 3 words, delivered the right way at the right moment, do more neurological work than 20 minutes of flawless physical technique. A man I worked with, I will call him Daniel, came to me after 2 years of what he described as almost, but never quite, moments with his partner. He was, by any measure, an attentive and generous partner. He had read everything he could find. He had experimented, adjusted, asked questions. And still, his partner told him she felt a kind of tension rising in her at the exact moment she got close, like her body was bracing against something she could not name. In our first session, I asked Daniel one question. What do you say to her during those moments? He went quiet. Then he said, "Nothing, I guess. I'm concentrating." That silence, it turned out, was the ceiling. Within 3 weeks of applying the verbal framework I am about to share with you, his partner described their intimacy as feeling, for the first time, completely safe. The physical outcome followed naturally from that shift. It almost always does. Before we go further, I want to put a resource in your hands. I put together a free guide called 7 Phrases That Shift Her Nervous System. It is the complete framework that extends everything in this video, with full delivery notes, timing guidance, and the neuroscience behind every single phrase. You can download it for free using the link in the description below. It is the natural companion to what you are about to learn, and I built it specifically so you walk away with something you can use immediately. Now, let's get into the 3 phrases. The first shift, and this one rewires the entire dynamic from the opening moment, is grounded in what researchers call sensory redirection. The phrase is simply this: I love the way you feel. Here is the mechanism. Emily Nagoski's dual control model identifies 2 systems governing sexual response: the sexual excitation system and the sexual inhibition system. For most women, the inhibition system is highly sensitive to performance pressure, self-monitoring, and the implicit question of whether they are taking too long or doing enough. The moment she senses your effort and focus intensifying, her inhibition system activates. Cortisol rises. Blood flow to the peripheral erogenous zones decreases. Her analytical prefrontal cortex, the part running the internal monologue, goes louder, not quieter. Now picture this. You are close to her. Your voice is low and unhurried, and in the middle of everything you say, quietly, almost to yourself, I love the way you feel. What happens neurologically is precise. Sensory language, words that point directly to physical sensation rather than evaluation or outcome, bypasses the prefrontal cortex entirely. There is nothing for her analytical mind to evaluate, no question to answer, no performance to manage. Instead, those words activate the somatosensory processing regions of the brain, redirecting her attention from the thought loop back into her body, back into what she is actually experiencing in this moment. And because the phrase is framed around your experience rather than hers, it removes all pressure from her completely. You are not asking her to arrive anywhere. You are telling her that where she already is exactly right. Deliver this early while things are still building. Keep your voice slow, low, and close, near her ear or her neck. It should sound like it escaped you, not like you planned it. If she softens physically, if her breathing slows or deepens, you are in the right register. If she seems unmoved or tenses slightly, bring your voice down further and slow your pacing before trying again. The delivery is everything. The second shift, and here is where it gets genuinely interesting, is about agency. This is what almost no one tells men about female arousal. One of the most consistent findings in psychosexual research is that women carry an enormous and largely invisible cognitive load during intimacy. They are simultaneously trying to feel and trying to manage, monitoring your experience, anticipating your needs, worrying about being a burden, performing engagement they may or may not fully feel yet. That cognitive load is functionally the enemy of orgasm. It keeps the prefrontal cortex engaged when it needs to go quiet. The phrase that cuts through it is this: tell me what you want, or in the right moment, even simpler, show me. Here is why this works at the neurological level. Bancroft and Janssen's dual control model identifies anticipation and agency, the experience of actively directing one's own desire, as a significant activator of the sexual excitation system. When you invite her to direct, you do two things at once. You remove the cognitive load of managing your experience, and you activate the dopaminergic reward circuits associated with desire and anticipation. She is no longer a passenger trying to arrive at a destination you are navigating toward. She is driving. That shift from passivity to agency is not subtle. It is one of the most reliable state changes I have observed across years of clinical work. Say it calmly, warm, not demanding, hold eye contact if the moment allows, then go completely still and wait. The pause is not awkward. It is the invitation itself. Give her the full space to respond, whether in words or in movement. If she responds even slightly, follow her lead precisely. If she seems uncertain, stay still and add, "We have all the time in the world." That single addition, "we have all the time," signals safety at an attachment level that the phrase alone does not fully reach. Which brings us to the third phrase, and this is the one that operates at the deepest level of all. Think of her nervous system in those final moments, like a tightly wound spring that has been coiling all evening. Every sensation, every escalation, every approach toward the edge has been adding tension to that spring. And here is what happens to most women at exactly that moment. The amygdala, the brain's threat detection center, fires, not because anything is wrong, but because intense arousal and intense vulnerability feel neurologically similar to the brain's alarm system. The body braces, muscles tighten, breathing becomes shallow. She is right there, and she pulls back, not from you, but from the intensity itself. This is the moment that requires the third phrase, and it requires your full presence to deliver it. You go still, you look at her, and you say, grounded and unhurried, I'm right here. I'm not going anywhere. This is attachment neuroscience at its most fundamental. Sue Johnson's work in emotionally focused therapy identifies the secure base response, the felt sense that a partner is present, stable, and not about to withdraw, as one of the most powerful regulators of the human nervous system. When her brain receives that signal, Stephen Porges's polyvagal framework tells us what happens next. The ventral vagal system activates, the parasympathetic nervous system takes over, heart rate slows, muscle tension releases, and the amygdala quiets. That is not a metaphor. That is a measurable physiological cascade triggered by the perception of safety. She feels at the level of her nervous system that she does not have to hold on, that she can let go. And letting go, genuine, unguarded surrender, is the only neurological state in which full release becomes possible. Trust is not a feeling she decides to have. It is a state her body enters when the conditions are right. Your voice, your stillness, your presence in that moment are the conditions. Deliver this phrase slowly. Hold completely still as you say it. Do not rush forward. Let the words land before anything else moves. Watch for her breathing to slow and deepen. That is her parasympathetic system engaging. Watch for her body to soften rather than tighten. If you see those signals, stay exactly where you are. Do not escalate. Do not shift. The nervous system needs 10 to 15 seconds to complete that transition, and moving too soon interrupts it entirely. Now here is the action plan I promised you. Start earlier than you think you need to. The nervous system does not shift on demand. It shifts through accumulation. Begin the environment before you begin the intimacy. Dim the lights. Put on something low and continuous in the background, not distracting, just present enough to absorb ambient noise and signal safety to the nervous system. Sit close to her before anything physical begins. Spend 3 to 5 minutes in simple physical contact, a hand on her back, her head on your shoulder, with no agenda attached to it. Let her nervous system register that you are not in a hurry. When intimacy begins, spend at least 5 to 7 minutes in the building phase before introducing any of the 3 phrases. Let the physical context establish itself first so the words land in a prepared nervous system, not a cold one. Drop the first phrase, I love the way you feel, naturally, without announcement, somewhere in this early phase. Watch for her breathing to change. Watch for her body to move towards you rather than hold its position. That lean in is your first checkpoint. It tells you her inhibition system is quieting. When you sense a plateau or feel her drifting back into her head, introduce the second phrase. Give her the full pause. Follow whatever she offers. Your second checkpoint is her voice or her movement. Any active direction from her tells you the agency shift has worked. As intensity builds toward the third phase, slow everything down rather than escalating. Bring your voice lower. Reduce movement. This counterintuitive stillness is what signals safety rather than urgency. When you feel that tension rising in her body, that coiling, bracing quality, deliver the third phrase. Hold still for a full 10 to 15 seconds after saying it. The 30 to 40 minutes this sequence takes is not foreplay. It is nervous system architecture. What you are building in that time is a felt sense of safety so complete that her body has no reason left to hold back. What you learned today reframes the entire conversation about female pleasure. The ceiling you have been bumping against is not a physical barrier. It is a neurological one, and it dissolves not through more effort, but through the right kind of presence. Arousal is built through nervous system safety, not physical escalation. Trust is created through consistent presence, not through technique or performance. The shift from her head to her body happens through language and stillness, not through intensity or urgency. And intimacy deepens through the experience of being met exactly where you are, not through being pushed toward where someone else wants you to go. If you apply this framework consistently, the transformation you will see is not just physical, it is relational. You become the person whose presence itself is the signal that everything is safe. That is the deepest thing one person can be for another. Start tonight, not with all three phrases at once, with one. Choose the first one, I love the way you feel, and deliver it the way I described. Low, slow, close, unplanned sounding, just that one shift. Notice what changes in her. Notice what changes in you. If this video opened something up for you, subscribe to this channel. Every video here is built on the same foundation. Real science, real application, and genuine respect for both people in the relationship. Drop a comment below and tell me this. What has been the biggest gap between what you understood intellectually about intimacy and what you actually experienced in practice? I read every single response, and your answers shape the content I build next. Thanks for watching. Keep learning, keep growing, and take care.